Welcome to Rust Duck Garage. Hey, today we're in Redmond, Oregon, and we're on our way to look at a 1968 Chevrolet Chevelle. Now, this Chevrolet Chevelle is a two-door, but it is a two-door post known as the Chevelle 300 Deluxe. This car has a six-cylinder and automatic transmission, and it's in Redmond, Oregon. Is very dry over here, and they don't salt the road, so this car has minimal rust and looks to be in very original condition. We're on a little rough gravel road here, so bouncing along. But we're gonna go take a look at this car. The price on it is fairly high. He wants $12,500, which I think is the top of the mark for this car. But we're still gonna take a look at it and hope that maybe we can make him an offer, or maybe he'll lower the price later on. But it doesn't seem to be selling very fast. But all right, we're a few minutes early here, but we're arriving where the Chevelle's at here. Okay, I talked to the owner, Dave, and he bought this car 1997. So what, that'd be 27 years ago, I believe. He drove it for a couple of years. They sold it to his dad, and his dad passed away. It's been sitting out here for 20-some years. And you see a couple bi-ply tires on the rear of it still, original hubcaps. And he said it had the rubber floor or vinyl floor to retain the moisture when it was setting outside and rotted the floors. But they're not into the rockers or anything like that. Just all seems to be in the floors itself there. The headliner took moisture, got to it too, whatnot. But look, appears to have 86,000 actual miles on it, judging by the wear on the pedals and whatnot. And the car has been repainted once. It's white now, and it was this green color. I don't even know what you would call that, but it's kind of a cool color, very unusual. Quarters look original and never been hit. The floor, everything in here, very nice. Trunk floors just got minimal rust on it. He did clean the fuel system out. The rear bumper is very, very, very nice. He bought it in La Grande, Oregon, and these are Placerville, California plate frames on there. Said there was a minor spot, the rust showing right there. He does have the stainless for around the rear window. He would clean that periodically, he said, to keep it from rusting. Is the reason the trim was off of there. Also has the trim for the front of it. And the floors are pretty good over here. Looks like you could do some patch panel repair on the floors. And he said it's a 300 Deluxe. I think the only option possibly is it had a radio. And I'm not even sure about that, but it does appear to be a factory antenna. But very cool car. Started it up and it runs actually quite well. Clutch disengages. Brakes do work somewhat. For a car that's been setting for many, many years, you'd think he did have it out about 4 years ago for a day or two. Well, overall, guys, I really think this is a nice Chevelle that is worth picking up. I mean, he wants $12,500 for it. That's a lot of money. Trying to get a little better deal on it, but that would be one cool project. I would drive this car home. Well, as you can see, the front bumper and the grille is very nice in this car. It just doesn't look like it's ever had any damage to it. It's wearing the Placerville plate frames around the Oregon license plates there. Still has the original spiral rear shocks on it. He did put a set of Impala coil springs in there, which makes it set a little high. The Palomino ivory color is very unusual. Odometer shows 86,645 miles. And the rusted out floors, well, that's really a problem. And the interior is actually gone. I mean, it's really a mess. No headliner, no nothing. The 250 inline six-cylinder seems to run pretty good. 155 horsepower out of that 250 six-cylinder with a 3-speed manual transmission. The difference between this Chevelle 300 and a 300 Deluxe is the chrome trim that goes along the bottom of the car below the door, and I believe there's one piece of trim in the front and the rear that is different between a 300 and a 300 Deluxe, and this car is the 300 Deluxe. This 1968 Chevelle is a very nice example with its poverty hubcaps and a lack of any options on it, not even the Deluxe. This car was equipped with a 327 350 horse with a California smog system on it, which looks very nice in the car there. It also had 4-speed transmission in it with the factory style shift boot. This is a picture of one that somebody had installed. The 4-speed in these cars really look good, and I would convert the car over to a 4-speed from the 3-speed on the tree. The vinyl interior in this blue one really looks nice, finished out in the stock trim. This car here has all black vinyl interior with the 4-speed transmission in it, and an unusual steering wheel in this 300 and a different set of gauges. This 300 here is what it's called, but it is a hardtop, which I found kind of unusual. And here's another 300 with a 327, and I believe this one had a 3-speed transmission in it. And then again, the L79 that was in this 68 300. They produced 5,661 Chevelle 300 Deluxe 2-door coupes in 1968, making this a pretty rare car. So I searched the interweb for a current 300 Deluxe for sale, and I didn't find any, not even a 6-cylinder coupe out there anywhere. And I would have thought that I would have found one or two. I did find several examples that had sold in recent years for pretty reasonable money. But again, that was some of those were 7 and 8 years ago. So I haven't found any that are recently sold or recently for sale, so I can't really put a value on this car. However, I don't believe it's worth $12,500. I really think it's a $6,500 car, but obviously the owner thinks it's worth a lot more than that, and he may be correct, but I'm not really willing to pay that. So unless he comes down in the price, I probably won't be buying the car, but I would sure like to buy it in its current condition and not restore the car, but get it everything working properly, you know, the brakes and the steering and the way it runs and drives and that sort of stuff, and then clean it up, new tires, maybe fix the floors and a few things like that, but not do too much for it. You can't really spend a whole bunch of money on these cars, because if you do, you'll never see that money again, because they're just not worth a ton of money unless you completely restore them, and then you got so much money into them that you really don't come out ahead. I'm not necessarily trying to get ahead, but I'd like to have the car for a while and play with it and not cost myself a whole lot of money. Well, I hope you liked today's video, and let me know how you would do this car. Would you restore it? Would you restore it all back stock? Would you put a small block in it? Or maybe a 427 with a 4-speed in it with all the correct original markings to make it look like a Copo or something like that. Maybe a Yenko L79 327 350 horse 4-speed. But you could just run the old 6-cylinder and 3-speed that's currently in it and enjoy it with a little poverty hubcaps and a new set of radial tires on it with a 3/4 inch wide white wall. That's probably what I would do. But again, hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you would, please hit that like, share, and subscribe button, and we'll catch you next time at Rusty Duck Garage. Well, overall, guys, I really think this is a nice Chevelle that is worth picking up. I mean, he wants $12,500 for it. That's a lot of money. Trying to get a little better deal on it, but that would be one cool project. I would drive this car home.